Okay, we're trying out the last of the vehicles here. Henicon Run is really fun, I have to admit. Other course we can use with heavy vehicles, it's not made for heavy vehicles. We got the last one, the Chimera. Heavier and more horsepower. You can feel the horsepower. This thing is insanely... It's a lot heavier, but it's a lot more horsepower too. Goliath is pretty darn good. There's this thing, which doesn't seem that much better, really. It just has worse cornering. I don't know. Again, I don't know what kinds of upgrades you do or don't have in these things, though, so... Yeah, one last truck to try here. And we got a couple buggies to try after that. I guess they just had a lot more sponsors taking up the offers to have their vehicles put in the game for the trucks and buggies than they did for the ATVs and bikes. I don't know. This thing feels very compact compared to the others. Oh yeah, this thing definitely doesn't turn like that. I'd say this one doesn't turn like the other ones. But they're also... oh, come on, game. Which is probably in part due to its cornering, but at the same time we're also using the wrong tires, so... Got some pretty good speed despite sliding there, actually. Oh. Yeah, definitely bounce around in ways that, you definitely do notice, once you've done these kinds of courses in the, heavy vehicles, that, the rally courses... Ah, okay, those tires we can't move. You notice that, there are lots of bumps and whatnot that are carefully made a lot more gentle and so on in the rally courses compared to what you see here. Yeah, having to make some courses work for both vehicle types definitely put an apparent limitation on how they could design the courses. I'm surprised they'll let me do that. And it's so much stay ahead of them as I did just block them from going in front of me there. Yeah, see, stuff like that happens that just sends your vehicle tipping forwards in the air in a way that is not conducive to continued operation of the vehicle. Yeah, this is a lot harder than it would be because we have no traction. So we have the wrong tires. Whoops. Just sliding everywhere all the time. Drift. Okay. Let's see what the buggies are like. The trucks still have some pretty crazy stats, which is fun. I love the extremes that the trucks give you. I definitely do enjoy the trucks in this game, in spite of my other complaints with the game. Okay, yes though. Nope, not ATV. We've had no shortage of ATV on this track. Buggy. Have we used... We haven't used the Viper, have we? I don't think we have. My god, there are 4 of these. Why are there so many of you? I guess we'll probably end up spending this whole episode just trying some buggies now, unless I make each attempt using a new vehicle very, very short. But I do have one last thing to show off after this. Oh. I have the least intuition for how I expect a buggy to drive, unfortunately, so it's hard for me to compare how they drive. Like, sure, yeah, I just got ahead of everyone. It's reassuring. But, the really distinctive thing with the buggies is just how much suspension they have. They really make, if the course is designed right at least, and lots are in this game, the insane suspension they have really smoothens out lots of rides that would not be so smooth otherwise. Like that landing I had just there where I bounced really hard, that would be a lot worse in a truck as well. It's just a buggy with good stats. It leaves everyone behind, basically. Kind of does what you expect. But yeah, the ability it has to smooth out the course is really interesting. It kind of, just by point of contrast, makes the trucks feel very stiff by comparison, in the sense that their suspension is extremely stiff compared to this, which is another thing that makes trucks feel different, which I like. Yeah, buggies are amusing, but I never got as much into them in this game. Okay, Renegade? Crazy handling buggy. Okay. Trying to do the logic on what stuff to put in this episode versus the next episode. I may just extend this episode a little bit to show the last of what I want to show. Instead of, come on man, shift gears. Instead of relegating the last thing I want to show to its own last episode. Although, I don't know, maybe I could do that. Depends how much time it ends up taking, which it could take some time actually, depending on what I do with it. That was totally on purpose, by the way. This thing... So, the one thing I will say about this is that compared to... Like, this isn't something that's reflected in the stats so much, but this is the buggy that feels least like a buggy that I've tried. Like, look how little suspension it actually has. Like, it definitely isn't as smooth. Like, it doesn't bounce as much. Like, the suspension's still very soft, but there's very little of it. So it's definitely still a good deal softer than a truck, but it is also nowhere near as cushy as a buggy usually is. There are lots of bumps that I feel that I don't normally feel. And on top of that, just the usual good stats, because it just flies ahead. Good engine and all that. Zoom. I guess I never really said this explicitly, but I'm pretty sure it's perfectly fine for me to not have actually used and loaded up every single vehicle in the game. In fact, it may be redundant for me to do what I'm doing here even. Well, I don't know. I don't know if... Yeah, I probably just need the directory name for each of these vehicles, because the structure within the directory for each vehicle is going to be the same. Like, the model's going to have the same name, the texture's going to have the same name, that stuff. So maybe redundant what I'm doing here, but I also want to see the vehicles and just try them out. These ones especially because they're kind of special ones. I wouldn't mind seeing the other vehicles in the game too, but they're probably less special. These ones are special unlockable vehicles, so they are going to play a bit differently. And there's this thing with much lower stats. I don't know how they ordered these. But yes, the reason I don't need to buy all the other cars, I don't think, is because, one, having loaded them in the menu is probably enough, but also, most, if not all the other vehicles I should have seen other opponents use already by now. And that'll have their assets loaded already, so I shouldn't need more of them to use myself. Yeah, look how I just immediately fly ahead of everyone. You can pull a cool little 360 and barely fall behind for it. But yeah, I just fly ahead of everyone with vehicles like this. They're just faster. It's pretty good grip. I'm considering, especially that I'm using the wrong tires here. I got my traction back really quickly there. Like, I'm still trying to be especially unusually careful. Steering-wise. Because I slide really easily with these tires on this road, but... I will also say this one also has, like, no traction. Sorry, not no traction. This one also has, like, no suspension. That's a dimension, I guess, to the buggy that applies to the different vehicles that doesn't show up in the stats, although you can kind of see it in the design of the vehicle. How much suspension they actually have. Do you want a really smooth ride or not? The ones that are basically just a cage suspended on... I could not turn there. A cage suspended on some suspension, for lack of a better word. Those ones are extremely smooth. This one's a lot more traditional. Like, it's still smoother than a truck would be, going over those bumps like I was just now. Like, you barely notice those bumps are there. But, it's just like a regular car with unusually large suspension. Less like, you know, the crazy bouncing everywhere sort of ride that the bigger buggies are. It's interesting to feel that. Okay. And one more Anaconda run. With this thing. Maybe you just have to put a lot of upgrades in this, I don't know, because otherwise it doesn't seem unusually good. But we'll try it out. And I do think I'll end the episode after this, and then next episode will be showing off the last thing I want to show, and just, you know, closing stuff, usual back matter, like looking at the credits and things like that I like to do in a game like this. Although we did see the credits already, didn't we? We can play it again, it's fine. I love getting placed in the front like this because it means that the opponents that always start faster than you just bump into your back. Yeah. Oh, I wish I blocked the road a bit better there, so they don't just all fly past me. I don't know. Yeah, stats of this one don't feel as remarkable, just in the sense that, like, yeah, it just looks like it's just a balanced vehicle that's not particularly great. Maybe if you start putting the upgrades into it, those numbers get higher, although you can't upgrade your engine that much, I don't feel like, in this. Although it is light, there is that. The other vehicles are really heavy in exchange for having really good stats. This is a lighter vehicle. Again, though, very little suspension compared to lots of the others as well. This one's still good. But yeah, if you upgrade the engine a bit and get a better suspension, you probably get really good handling and a pretty good engine on an otherwise unusually light vehicle, assuming you want a light vehicle. But that does mean it's probably easier to take turns quickly and whatnot too, because you probably don't start sliding as much, or it's probably easier to get yourself going more quickly and so on. Just the usual things that weight affects. Boom! Okay. I was gonna finish the race, but I don't really feel like it after that tumble. Okay, so next time what we will do is we will show the final thing that I want to see. And in my mind, it's the most important of all. And after that, we'll just finish up in the usual way. And I think we'll take a tally of how many strings we found as well, both in this sitting and in the whole game. And it won't be the final tally because I will need to go into the track editor off screen and just place all the different track pieces and actually then load those while playing, because those are what you load in the track editor is not the same assets you load while actually playing the track. So I'll need to place down every track piece and actually load it in the game, which is just, you know, nothing interesting to watch there. So, and then yeah, no online to see, unfortunately. That's just the nature of it. Unless there's in the future some way to try to do that. I haven't looked into whether there are like online services you can try to use with. I haven't tried to look into PCX2 networking at all, actually. Honestly, if I should perhaps check if it can at least like say, hey, have access to the internet, please, so that someone can at least like attempt to, so the game can at least attempt to open up online stuff, and then not fail to connect to the server. But it would be getting slightly further at least. I don't know. Anyways, see you then.